So welcome back to Africa Farming. My name is Samuel, and of course we are glad that you've joined us. Today I'm actually at the farm. We're trying to do one or two things with my great guy here. Trying to measure the place where we're going to put a sheep pen. So we are trying to do some measurements here to see how we are going to construct the sheep and goat pen. So this is my guy, by the way. He's called Jackton.
Jackton.
Eh?
Jackton Gimoi.
Jackton Gimoi.
Yes, sir.
Hebu ambia watu kitu bana.
Mimi ndio nangoja kwa hii shamba.
Alafu
kama ukiangalia ile nyumba mimi ndio nilijenga.
Ile nyumba huko chini.
Ile nyumba ya huko chini. Alafu hii ni ya kuku. Nimejenga hiyo naendelea kumaliza. Alafu pale nimetengeneza hako kitu kama choo hivi ndio bado naendelea kumaliza.
Yes.
Sasa niko hapo nataka nitengeneze kafenzi hivi kidogo. Tukisukuma siku.
Hujawaambia wewe ndio umepanda zile fence huko Kayapa
kabisa. Hata bado naendelea kupanda hata vibuyu kwa pale mitungi. Naendelea kupanda hiyo fence Kayaba na miti.
Yeah.
Hivyo.
Unafanya kazi poa, by the way.
Asante.
Yes. Now Jackton is my farm manager. Yeye ndo ananichungia shamba, ndo ana manage kila kitu hapa, ana make sure everything is done as per what is required. You remember we did pine trees, we planted pine trees, apples. Yeye ndo anatusaidia kwa all that. So ebu tuchape hii. This particular sheep pen, I've measured, I want it to be 70 feet in terms of the length and 50 feet in terms of the width. And then we'll have the shed here which will house whenever there is rain and the sheep want to actually, try to... There are times when the sheep would want to just come and rest in a shed. So we'll create a shed here that will be 40 feet by around 20 feet. And in that we'll also have a section for the kids. Yeah. So you'll see that once we start doing that. But leo tumekuja kufanya measurements so that we know what to buy. Jackton ataniambia tukifanya hivi tunahitaji nini so that we can start planning for that. Otherwise, journey with us through this process. And by the way, we're also doing a DIY today. We'll be planting some sukuma wiki and spinach in a sack. You remember when we told you guys that if you don't need a huge piece of land, hata ukikuwa hapo kwako when you're at home in an urban setting, you can use your backyard to plant. You can create your vegetable farm through sacks. So today we're gonna do one where we'll plant some spinach and some sukuma wiki in a sack that is filled with fertile soil. So we'll take you through that. So journey with us through these, and I hope you'll love it and you'll practice it at home. Waambie changamka na Africa Farming.
Changamka na Africa Farming.
So yes, so karibuni kwa Africa Farming. If you're new here, remember to subscribe. Take a second or two to hit the notification bell so that whenever we post a new video, YouTube will actually notify you. And to our subscribers, thanks a lot for supporting us. It's because of you that we are growing. I think around now, by the time we're shooting these, we're at around 500 and something subscribers. So thanks a lot for your support. Always come back and watch all our videos whenever we do the posts that we normally do. Kama kuna any feedback that you'd want to give us, kindly connect with us on our social media platforms. Instagram, Africa Farming KE, Facebook, Africa Farming, and we'll be there to respond to your queries. Remember, here we learn together. So if you have any new farming practice that you'd want us to know, kindly connect with us. Let us know all those new farming practices so that we can try them out and showcase to other people who are new generation farmers and new entrants in farming. So thanks a lot. Journey with us as we go to do the DIY when it comes to vegetable planting, or rather vegetable farming using your sack of soil. Let's go. Yep, so As I said earlier, we're going to do a DIY where we're going to plant sukuma and spinach in one of these sacks that you see. So right now, the first thing we need to do is to gather soil. Then once we've gathered this soil, we'll actually mix it with fertilizer. In this case, I'm using farmyard manure. And the farmyard manure that I'm using, you can even actually see there. It's chicken manure. Now, there's a difference between chicken manure and cow or goat manure, or cow dung manure. So if you're using cow dung as your manure, the dried cow dung, then you will go with a ratio of 1:1. So for 1 sack of soil, you can use 1 sack of the cow dung. But in this case, I'm using 1 sack of soil with a half a sack of chicken manure. The reason is chicken manure has a higher pH. I think higher pH means it's more acidic. I don't know. I don't remember my pH knowledge. But basically what I'm saying is chicken manure is high in terms of the acidity levels. So you use kidogo chicken manure. So right now I'm mixing this soil so that I can get to at least a sack of soil before I mix with the chicken manure. So you have to make sure, by the way, that your soil does not have big particles, because this soil is what is going to be in the sack, and you don't want the sukuma and the spinach that you're planting to have resistance when it's growing. So you have to have finer particles that will make it easy for it to grow and, shoot well. So if you have any big particles, you have to actually break them down into finer particles. And all this process is simple as long as you have your spade here. Some people call it shovel. You can actually just make the sand into finer pieces. I think mine is good to go. So now the next step is to mix with chicken manure. So I'll try to spread so that I mix it well. So we're going to use this. This is chicken manure that we're going to use. So this will be enough for this soil. We'll add kidogo, tuongeze kidogo tu. Ongeza kidogo. Ongeza kidogo hapo. Hivyo. Very nice chicken fertilizer. As you all know, of course, I have chicken at home, so I picked this from the bedding that had developed over a period of time. So I'm using it. Basically, when you have a farm, just recycle what you have. So if you have chicken, whatever bedding that has been made on your chicken, or if you have goats, use that as your manure, and they'll actually be nice. So we'll try to mix this with the soil to ensure that our soil is very fertile and ready. So guys, this chicken manure was not gotten directly from the chicken bedding to this particular place. You have to collect first when it's still kind of wet, because it has bacteria. So when it has those bacteria, you have to expose it to sunlight and dry it well. Because if you don't dry it and you take it to your farm and mix it as manure, use it as manure, then it means you might be risking transferring diseases to your farm through those bacteria. So you have to make sure you expose this farmyard manure from your chicken house or chicken structure directly to the sunlight for a period of days until it's dry, for a period of time until it dries out. Then once that is done, bring it. It will be ready for use. So don't use it directly. The only manure that I've seen that people use directly from the farm, or rather from the house, is rabbit manure. You can actually use it directly. But for chicken, goats, and all that, you have to dry it first, expose it to sunlight. So make sure you mix it very well until all the soil is somehow mixed with the farmyard manure. So now this soil is now ready to fill the sack that we want to use to plant the sukuma wiki. This is actually some exercise. Hey, I'm feeling nice. So let's fill up this sack. Yep. So when you're at home in your townhouse and you have a nice backyard, you can fill as many of these as possible, depending on how many you'd want to plant, how many seedlings you'd want to plant. So I think one sack can take up to between 20 and 30 seedlings, depending on the size of your sack. I think that's enough. So we are done with that. So we'll have to carry it where we are supposed to plant it, so that we now sprinkle some water, or rather just pour water. So that this soil, we can't plant when the soil is this dry. So we'll carry it to that place where now it will stay, and then we'll pour some water here until it's wet enough, and then now we'll start the planting process. So tubebane na hii. Tunaweza beba?
Talalisha chini nishike.
So make sure your sack is stable, but we are trying to stabilize it using these blocks. So remember, this is an example of your vegetable farm at home using a sack. We're gonna plant sukuma wikis here. So you can do this at home. So now the soil is settled. So first of all, we want this whole soil to hold firmly. So we'll pour some water kidogo. So Jackton is helping me with the perforation. So when you're doing the perforations, make sure you use your finger as the width and dip it inside, and try to ensure that the water has percolated to the bottom of the whole sack. Yeah, as I said, just measure 15 centimeters between two perforations. Yeah. Yeah, so we have skumas here and we have spinach. We have skuma and spinach. So we'll be mixing spinach and some spinach there. So now we've started the planting. So you'll use your finger against the roots, because now the holes have actually been made in such a way that they face downwards. So use your fingers to direct the roots of your seedlings. In this case, I have sukuma wiki and some spinach here. Let me try some spinach also. Let me try this spinach here. Just use your finger to direct, your index finger to direct it. You'll just feel it, and don't put a lot of pressure, because it will you might damage the roots. So you just panda it kidogo. Then after that we'll water them again. So once I'm done with that, I'll also try to do at the top. I think I'm done with all the holes this side. So I'll also try to do at the top. So I think that's it. We've planted some few of them. The rest will be planted in the farm. So this was just a DIY. We'll come, of course, after a few days to check and see if what we've done is actually working. So let's give it a week. We'll come back and do an update on this. But make sure you do something like this at home. It is not expensive, very cheap. Yeah, so I think it was around 200 bob for all the sukumas and the spinach. And you've seen we've not even planted all of them. So you can even use 10 bob to get, depending on your supplier. If you go to a real farm, they'll give you a lot with that 10 shillings. So you can always come and start your backyard farm in a sack, as simple as that. So in the next 1 week, we'll be able to come back here and see the progress of this particular nice sack of sukuma wiki and spinach. And I hope by then we'll have something to share. Jackton, kuja. So Jackton, so unajua kazi kutoka leo ni nini? Kumwagilia maji kila siku, kuangalia kama iko sawa. Yeah. Alafu tutarudi after 1 week tuone kama imepona. Yeah, I'm sure itapona, si ndio? Yeah. Si ndio? Ndio. Mbona una sound huko confident? Niko. Sisi kuma tunaenda kula na spinach? Yeah. Sawa. So after 1 week we'll come back and see what we've done. So make sure jua, I hope hapa jua inamulikanga asubuhi, si ndio? And then I love the shade. But then make sure where you placed it, especially for a sunny area like Kajiado, isikuwe tu place iko exposed to na jua throughout. Ikuwe pia at some point kuna shade, so that hiyo maji, the water can actually, the soil can retain the moisture for a long period of time. But make sure also that, again, you don't put it in a shade such that you've hidden it from sunlight. So hapa Petumeka in the morning, there's always beautiful sunlight. And of course, we know the early morning sunshine is actually perfect for plants. So where we've placed it, asubuhi, that particular sunlight will actually be good for it. And then at a time like this, you can see the house has actually sheltered it from sunlight. So I hope that's it for today. Next time we'll come and do an update. Yeah, so if you've liked this video, kindly share it with your friends. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And don't forget to subscribe if you've not yet subscribed, and join the Africa family, Africa farming family. So until next time, changamka na ukulima. Jackton, unatuambia changamka na ukulima? Changamka na ukulima. Bas, ndio hiyo kabisa. Jackton ametuambia pale, changamka na ukulima.